Imagine launching your own Airbnb in minutes. Real-time booking, conflict-free reservation, seamless auth, and a beautifully designed front-end. All powered by Supabase and bolt.new without writing a single line of code. In this video, we're building a fully functional rental platform from scratch with a fast and reliable backend, flexible search and filters, and a smooth booking experience. No complex infrastructures, no tedious boilerplates, just Supabase and bolt.new doing the heavy lifting so you can focus on shipping. Let's dive in. Let's start out by creating the UI of the app. So I'm giving it some details about what kind of app I'm working on and some more specific stuff about what exactly, what pages do we need and stuff like that. But we could certainly be more specific. As usual, I like to kind of start with something abstract and then maybe add some details later on. But let's see what Bolt can come up with this. Okay, so it is done generating and we can see a beautiful listing page. It's nice. We can, I guess, favorite it maybe. And it has some nice images of the place. We can see the price, some dates, and we can make the reservation. I think this is a really good starting point. Okay, so let's polish this up. Later on, we'll be adding more complex features like filters and also being able to make the reservation and stuff. So let's see. Let's start up by adding some UI for the filters. So I've asked Bolt to add some filtering feature, and of course we haven't connected any backend to this, so this filter feature doesn't have to be really working on the front end. It just has to have a nice UI. But I think Bolt is gonna try to make something work locally, which is great. It makes it easier when we actually connect Supabase later on. But yeah, you can see Bolt adding filters by location, filters by amenities. Some of the things that I expect like an Airbnb type of app to have. Okay, great. We have, yeah, it's looking beautiful. The UI could use some work. Obviously, we might not want to clutter the vertical space like this with a bunch of tags, but it's alright. It's alright. It's working. The tag filtering is working, so I think it's great. We can always polish up the UI later. The date filters are there and locations filters are there as well. California, New York, Colorado. Yeah, we can later on certainly polish these filter up, but I think for now these look beautiful. Now let's also polish up this details page. So here we only have a single date, but obviously when we stay at a place, we have a start date and an end date. So let's add that. I'm trying to think if there's other stuff that we should be updating. But I think it's good. Yeah, we have number of guests, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, pool, yeah, all these categories, I guess. So yeah, I think it makes sense. Let's just add the end date. So you can see there's now a start date and an end date, and yeah, it's, I guess, storing it somewhere. We don't really need to worry about the code for now or later on because this is a no-code tutorial. But okay, as we come back, we can see that there is a dates property. Dates. It says plural, but it's still a single date field, isn't it? Oh, I guess the UI hadn't updated yet. Okay, so we have a check-in date and a check-out date. Great, and as we make, oh wow, as we update the dates, it gives me the final pricing and it also includes a service fee. Works for me. Great, I am loving this. Now that we have a beautiful UI, let's connect Supabase and add auth to it. Now Supabase is the backend that we'll be using, and the great thing about it is we can just click this button and get started with connecting it to Supabase. So right now, behind the scenes, bolt.new is spinning up a new Supabase instance, and we can just wait for it to be available for us. So our Supabase project is done spinning up, and we can actually view the project if we wanted to. So it looks like this. We have a bunch of tables. We can write SQL if we want to. We can take care of authentication. But the beautiful thing is we don't really need to work within our Supabase dashboard. We can actually let Bolt take care of everything that we need within Supabase. So let's do that. So yeah, we can add Bolt to add authentication from the sign in button. So just with a simple prompt, I've asked it to add Supabase auth to this app, and I specified email plus password authentication. We can certainly add Google Auth or Facebook Auth or other type of authentication, but it's a bit more complicated, and some of those auth wouldn't work within this Bolt's preview window. So you would have to deploy for it to work. And for this tutorial, I don't want to go through the hassle of deploying all the app every single time I test it out. So I'm just going with a simple email plus password login. You can always ask Bolt to implement all the other authentication options if you want to. Okay, so let's press sign in and see if we can get our users signed up. So we need to sign up first, right? And hit create an account. And just like that, we are signed in. Now that we're signed in, we can also connect our Supabase database to the app so that our listings actually get loaded from the actual database. So I've asked Bolt to create the tables necessary to store all the location listings, and also to connect Supabase to the app so that the listings will be loaded from Supabase database. We can see Bolt building the listings table to store all the listings, which has title, location, price, rating, reviews, description, all the information that you see on the details page. And it's also taking care of some security stuff that we don't really need to go too deep into, but it's making sure the app only allows the right users to be able to interact with the database. Okay, so we got some errors. Let's see what is going on. Transfer failed. See, okay, I have no idea what this error is, but we can... Oh yeah, it's probably because we haven't actually run the script to create the tables. So in order to create the tables, we need to grant permission for Bolt to actually interact with our database, which is a nice feature that they have. So now that they have run the migration command, if we go back to our database, we can see the listings table, which shouldn't have any data at the moment, or I guess it does have some dummy data, which is great. Okay, but we still have this error going on. Let's hit refresh, and yeah, we still have the error. So transform failed, one error, unexpected end of file. Okay, we can copy this and let Bolt take care of it. All right, we were able to resolve the error. Now we don't see any listings, but that was because there was a default filter for some reason. We can probably fix this. Okay. It's still having the same issue, isn't it? No listing found. Okay, let's ask it to load the list of locations initially. Okay, let's actually move on and we can take care of it later. Now I'm encountering an error when I go to the details page, so let's take care of that. We still have an error. Okay. Alright, I think we were able to fix the error. Isn't like Bolt was able to fix the error for me. Alright, great. So, yeah, bolt.new definitely did struggle a bit right there, but the point is we didn't really have to dig into the code at all. We were just able to click to fix the error, or we just feed in the error message to Bolt and it was able to resolve the error on its own, except this filtering issue, which is kind of annoying, but we'll take care of it later. One of the key to developing apps with AI is just patience, isn't it? You just kind of have to sometimes you just have to be lucky. Considering how much work we've been able to get done in just a matter of minutes is amazing. Like if we were manually building out this application by hand, we would certainly not have this beautiful looking application in just whatever time we spend so far. Now in order to make this demo application more interesting, I want to add more demo data into the database. So let's ask Bolt to do that. So I created another migration file with a bunch of demo data that'll be inserted into our database soon. Alright, Bolt is done generating all the dummy data, so let's apply changes and take a look at the list of locations. Okay, so it has quite an extensive list of filters. We should probably take care of that maybe. But yeah, as you can see, we have a whole bunch more locations that we can work with, which is great. Let's quickly take care of this UI because it's quite disturbing. So I asked Bolt to make it into a dropdown instead of just listing out every single categories that are available. Let's see if it can come up with a nice UI. Okay, so we've encountered some errors, but that's alright. Let's fix it. Clear filters, and we have amenities, dock, lake areas. Great, I like the UI. I like the fact that we can view all the filtered categories right here. And we can clear the filter. Looks pretty good. We can choose the location. Great. I think it's looking pretty good. Now that we have some data to work with, let's work on the booking feature. So when we go into the details page, we should be able to make a booking by selecting the check-in date and check-out date and number of guests. So we need a table to store these information. One of the key components about booking is making sure that no two reservations overlap with each other. So no two parties should be able to make reservation on this luxury beachfront villa on the same day or overlapping dates. And Postgres actually has a neat data type to handle situations like this called date range that we can utilize. So let's keep that in mind and let's ask Bolt to implement booking feature. And one thing we want to do today is to add payment processing. So we're just gonna store the booking information on the database and that'll be it. So it's creating a bookings table with ID, listing ID, user ID, and a check-in and checkout column. Check-in date, checkout date column. And it's adding row level security to it. Okay, so it's not using the date range type that I asked it to use. But let's go back to the code. But it's adding some constraints of no overlapping booking to exclude using just index with listing ID and date range. Okay, so this works, I suppose. Yeah, it's storing the check-in and checkout date as two separate dates, but it's actually adding a constraint so that no two reservations would overlap with each other. So this works great. bolt.new I feel like is always ahead of me. It knows what it's doing. And just standard practices of adding proper row level security policy so that no users can pretend to be someone else. And it's also adding index so that we can efficiently query the list bookings with listing ID, check-in, and checkout columns. Yep, let's apply these changes. And I think this problem is due to the fact that we didn't have the table earlier. Okay, so there was something with running the SQL. So let's ask it to fix it and let's see what it comes up with. So it's updating the migration file that we were taking a look at earlier. Let's take a quick look. So it's still using the same stuff. TS range, so timestamp range. Using check-in, checkout. And okay. Let's see if that goes through. Okay, check-in is date, checkout is date. Okay. So if you think about ranges, if I'm booking from February 1st to February 2nd, and if someone else wants to book from February 2nd to 3rd, that someone should be able to book it, right? Even though both of us will be staying at the place on February 2nd, because I'll be leaving in the morning and this new guy will be coming in at night. So there's not a problem. That's the standard way of how hotel or these type of things work. In order to kind of do that in Postgres, we have this notation of this square brackets being inclusive and the curly braces being exclusive. So what this is saying is the check-in date should be inclusive and checkout date should be exclusive. Meaning if I have a check-in date of February 1st and checkout date of February 2nd, that someone should be able to book starting from February 2nd. That's not considered a overlap. But yeah, bolt.new was able to just kind of detect it, figure out what exactly the error was, and was able to fix it on its own. So I think it's working great. Let's take a look if it's truly working. So if I say I want to check in on February 3rd, check out on February 4th with one guest, I should be able to make a reservation, right? So if we jump into the table editor, we have a bookings table. And we have the booking that we just created. This is my user ID, and we have a check-in date of February 3rd and check-out date of February 4th. Now, if I go back and make another reservation on the same place on the same dates. So February 3rd to 4th with one guest, I shouldn't be able to make this reservation because these dates are not available. Please select a different date range. I love the error message as well. And if I do book from February 4th to 5th, I should be able to make this reservation. And it went through. And similarly, it also takes care of overlapping in a larger scope. So if I have February 3rd to February 10th, because we have multiple actually reservation that overlaps with these dates, it will prevent me from making those reservations. And if we jump into the Supabase database and hit refresh, we can see that we have those two reservations from February 3rd to 4th and 4th to 5th. Now that we have the booking feature, let's fine-tune the filtering feature that we have. So if we go to our listing page, we have a date filter where we want to specify from which date to which date we would like to stay. And it would be neat if we could exclude those places, listings, that has a reservation between those dates, because obviously we wouldn't be able to stay there. So yeah, let's work on that feature. So I've given it the prompt to use these date pickers to exclude those listings with reservations that are already there. And I'm curious to see how exactly Bolt will solve this problem. I can see a few ways that I would go about solving this problem. I might use a Postgres function, or there's a few things that come to my mind that could make this feature complete. But let's see. So if I do try to make a reservation from the 3rd to 5th, it should exclude this, but instead it just errored out because okay, let's just fix it. And this is a challenging feature because obviously we don't want to expose the booking information to the public. The booking information should be private to whoever made the bookings, but we still want to know the fact that there are bookings for this locations in certain dates. So we would have to come up with something that would bypass row-level security, which restricts the booking information to be only accessible by that user, whoever made the reservation. But is it working? So we have, if we clear the filters, so this disappeared, didn't it? So if we go from 4th to 5th, yeah, the first listing is gone and the second one and on is only being displayed. So I wonder how it solved this problem. Let's see. Add a new state variable, unavailable listing IDs to track list to have overlapping bookings, add new use effect, fetch bookings that overlap with selected date range, uses Postgres range overlap operator to check for conflicts, updates the unavailable listing state, update the filtering listing logic. So one thing I'm curious of is if we take a look at the migration file and go to the row-level security for bookings, we can see that the select policy, create policy for booking for insert select. So the policy for select is using auth.uid is equal to the user ID. So this means that the booking information is only accessible by the user who made the booking, meaning that if I sign out and sign in is another user, sign up is another user, I suppose, Tyler +1, okay, now that I'm signed in as another user, I shouldn't be able to have access to the booking information of the fact that Tyler at Supabase.io has a reservation here. So let's just refresh the page just in case. And if I go from 4th to 6th, okay, because this Tyler +1 user doesn't have access to the Tyler at Supabase.io's booking information, it's looking like I would be able to make a reservation here. But if I actually jump in and try to make a reservation, it should block me because there is a reservation, and that's being blocked at the database level. So it's great that that's working, but it's not great that the filter is not working. So yeah, we're gonna have to ask Bolt to bypass this. So I didn't really go into giving bolt.new too much information about why it's not working. I just said it's not working and come up with a different implementation. And it's creating a database function. So if we go here, it's creating a database function, and I think this is what's called a security definer database function. What this can do is it can bypass row-level security policies so that all the users would have access to whatever this function is doing. What we have to be careful is the security definer function cannot be exposing anything that shouldn't be public. Like if it was exposing the actual booking itself, it would be a problem. Whereas if it's just exposing the fact that there's a booking on a certain date, it probably isn't a huge problem at all. In fact, we would kind of need that information to be public in order for this filter to work. So it takes a listing ID, check-in date, check-out date, and it loops through them and returns if a booking exists at that time. This will work, but we would need to call this function for every single booking that is being displayed. So if I go from 3rd to 5th, this kind of works, but it's not really a scalable solution. So yeah, let's just tell Bolt that so I just basically told it that it's not really a scalable solution and come up with a more scalable solution. Something that I would do is I would just create a generic function that will return the list of listings that are available, giving the list of parameters, but it's still okay. So it's taking a location filter, amenity filter, check-in checkout date, and it returns a list of locations. So yeah, more or less that's kind of the direction that I would go about fixing this problem. And I think it's the way Bolt is doing it right now. So already I believe it's using that function to load the list of listings. And we don't see the listings that I've already made a reservation for, which is a bit weird because I haven't really set any filters. But if I do 3rd to 5th, that particular location is gone. If I go from 5th to 6th, if I go from, I don't know, 18th to 19th, so this location is available. I wonder what happened just there. If I go from 4th to 19th, that location is no longer available. If I go from 6th to 7th, okay, this location is available. So you can see that that new Postgres function that bolt.new created is taking care of all the filtering logic, and it should work with all the other filters that I have here as well. So if I filter it to California, it's giving me all the list of listings that are in California. And if I do apply some amenity filtering like fireplace, there you go. It still works pretty good. Okay, so yeah, that's the basic date and basic drop-down filtering. And lastly, I want to add a keyword search feature to this listings page. So we should have a text box that users can enter whatever keyword they can come up with, and it'll search through all the listings in the database, tries to find the listings with matching keywords in the description or the title, and return those listings. I believe bolt.new should just update the functions that we, as in bolt.new, just created, but let's see what it can come up with. So I've asked Bolt to basically implement a keyword search feature that matches the keyword against title and the description. And I also added this a little bit about making sure that the implementation is scalable, hoping that it will come up with a nice scalable solution that just utilizes the Postgres full potential, because Postgres database on its own is a very scalable database. It powers some of the world's most big services like Reddit or Notion or Figma. So yeah, if you use it correctly, it can scale really, really well. And I liked what we saw right there. So again, we're opening the migration file, and it's creating another columns for search text. So this is a common pattern that we see in Postgres. We create a new column that combines all the columns that we want to search against. In this case, we want to combine the title and the description of the listings. And once we create that column, we create an index on that column so that we can search against it efficiently. And lastly, we update the functions that we have, and we pass in a new search query parameter and basically do all the same query that we've been all doing so far with the filters. So let's apply changes, and we get some errors. Try again. Okay, yeah, let's try to fix it by asking Bolt to just fix it without even looking at the errors. I think it has something to do with never mind. But yeah, this query is becoming quite complex, but that's okay because we have all the necessary indexes to scale. And okay, so it looks like we have something going on. I'm not sure why we already have some filtering going on, but let's see. If I search for wine, so there's some UI glitch where as I type, it performs a search, and while it's performing the search, the UI doesn't display the text box. And once it comes back, I'm not focused on the text box anymore. So let's ask it to fix that. So instead of performing the keyword search, so some basic stuff, instead of just performing the search on every single keystroke, I asked Bolt to only perform the search when I actually press a search button or hit return on my keyboard. Pretty standard. I think it should be able to take care of it pretty smoothly. All right, let's take a look. So if I type wine in search, there you go. We have Wine County Villa. Now if let's look for another random location. Okay, so Mountain View Cabin. So if we take a look at the description, cozy. Let's search for cozy. Cozy. We have a few places with the keyword cozy. So let's take a look at this one. And it's a cozy maritime charm. Beautiful. So keyword search is working. I guess all the basic features are working. We can refresh the page. And along the way, we also fixed issue where initially the data wasn't being loaded, but now it's being loaded. So yeah, that's it. We have a nice filtering feature. Bookings are not overlapping with each other. We have a beautiful UI. We were able to create a beautiful Airbnb clone.